This video is going to be a rant. I have complaints, I have grievances, and I did not feel right not getting these feelings out there just in case other Project Runway fans are out there and are also super disappointed with this last season. You're not alone, and I want to complain in case anyone from Disney is doing research on audience reactions to this season. It was garbage, and I'm going to tell you why. Welcome back to the Miscellaneous channel where we do miscellaneous things. I'm Zeleny. I typically cover TV, pop culture, internet trends, and other miscellaneous things on this channel, so subscribe if that's your vibe. So today, I want to complain. I have grievances against one of my favorite reality shows of all time. It's a show I've been in love with since I was a teenager. It's one of the oldest reality shows that I'm still a fan of to this day. And unfortunately now I am falling out of love with it. So the show I am talking about is Project Runway, which just finished up airing season 21. It is a fashion design reality TV competition show. It's been around since the mid-2000s, and it's honestly had a very rocky journey, moving kind of network to network, sometimes taking years off. And this last season, season 21, they had taken a couple of years off because the network they were on, Bravo, dropped them. The show has been passed around networks a lot. It started out on Bravo, then it went to Lifetime, which that era is the era I was most deep in. And then in the modern eras, it went back to Bravo, then Bravo dropped it, and Disney picked it up for Freeform and Hulu. I was honestly excited for the shakeup. I did like the Bravo move, even though that was when Heidi Klum and Tim Gunn left the show, which was a big change for Project Runway, but I enjoyed a lot of the changes they made aside from that one. They really modernized the whole look and feel of the show, the workroom. They moved to Brooklyn. They just had like a whole different vibe that was very modern, and it felt like very now. Disney kept a lot of the changes that were stylistic, like the workroom, the runway setup and stuff, but they made a lot of horrible changes. So I have been a long time fan of Project Runway. I can't say I've seen every single episode because I was watching it back in the day when I had to catch it on cable and they would run marathons, but you had to be there. I get it, I'm old. I had to catch it when it was airing. Since then, I have caught up on a lot of the seasons on streaming and stuff, but it's not always like all available since it has migrated network so many times, so some seasons will be available on streaming, some won't. But I do have some of my favorite comfort seasons that I've rewatched many times. Shout out season 8, hashtag Team Mondo. And I have followed Project Runway through these many changes. Even when they would stay on the same network, they would always try something to shake it up, from introducing plus size models to the runway, to firing Tim Gunn and Heidi, to dinner with the Kushners, to now rehiring Heidi. I've been with them through it all. The one thing that has survived through every shakeup is Nina Garcia, somehow. She is the cockroach of Project Runway. I swear I meant that in a complimentary way, not a derogatory way. I'm just trying to convey I'm a huge fan. I love fashion. I'm even a beginner sewer. I made this garment that I'm wearing right now. Yes, it has some errors because it's only the third garment I've ever made, but I just love this show. I love reality TV about creative competition. It's like the first reality TV I fell in love with. And I also recognize the doors Project Runway has opened for a show like RuPaul's Drag Race to exist, which is one of my favorite reality shows currently running. I did make a YouTube video recapping the last Project Runway season, and I was glad to have other fans chime in the comments. So I think it's clear I am a fan of Project Runway. That's why I was so disappointed by this season. It was so bad. Like I cannot believe how much they have ruined the show. The format alone is so stupid. When I was watching the premiere, I was hoping, oh, this is just gonna be a weird, fun thing for the premiere. It's a double episode, it makes sense. But no, it was the whole season. The format was they would do the elimination every week at the beginning of the episode. You would watch an episode, you watch the designers compete in a challenge, make a garment, present it on the runway, the judges critique them, and then the credits roll. So you don't get to find out who got eliminated that week until a whole week goes by and you've forgotten what the challenge was, you forgot who made what, you forgot who's who, you don't remember anything, and at the beginning of the episode you just start off, oh, so-and-so's eliminated. Okay, now let's start the new challenge. It was so weird and bizarre, and I hate it because reality TV has a formula that works. You know, every Survivor ends with a tribal council. Every Drag Race ends with a lip sync for your life. Like, it's not rocket science. It has been the standard for like 20 plus years at this point. Like, how could they get it that wrong? And I have to assume it's like to try to make it like a binge model thing to get people watching. Like, Netflix is notorious for trying this format with their reality, but Netflix is releasing this stuff in batches, so it makes sense. Why would you make this choice that is tailored to streaming and binging when you are releasing week by week and you already have a loyal, dedicated fan base who is gonna tune in every episode? It's just such a weird, like, cheap tactic to like make a cliffhanger every episode, make it seem more exciting than it is, when it's like, the audience is here. You have a dedicated fan base that's gonna try to tune in. I can't tell you how many times I just started the new Project Runway episode, I saw the elimination, and then abandoned the episode for a few days because it just threw off the whole rhythm of watching the season. It was horrible, and I wish I could say that was the only grievance and mistake of the season. I could have forgiven it, even though it's pretty big. But no, there's so much more. Another thing that pissed me off is they started the season doing group challenges, which is not common for Project Runway. Usually you get 1 or 2 group challenges per season, and that's fine. But this season they started with a group challenge, and it just kept being a group challenge. Notoriously, the worst season of Project Runway was one where they had to do a group challenge every week. I would think they would remember that, but it was a long time ago. Maybe they don't. I enjoy a group challenge on Project Runway when it naturally fits in with the season a couple of times. It makes for interesting drama. It's fun to see like a full collection, a cohesive vision, and see like if they succeed or fail at that. It is interesting, but in this season, they just started with it right off the bat. And I feel like I didn't get to know anybody. I literally can't tell you like who was in the bottom half of the season. Like, I don't remember anybody. And also, there would always be like a team captain for the groups, and it felt like the team captains were competing and the rest of the people in the group were just like filler minions that were executing the captain's vision. There was a lot of emphasis put on the captain either leading their team to success or to failure, and it was like, are just the captains competing here? And it also kind of felt like a spoiler for who were the finalists going to be, because I felt like the people that got to be captains ended up being like the top 4 or 5 of the season, and I could sense that from the beginning. I can tell who's going to be the one to beat, who's going to make it to the finale. It's all the people being team captains at the beginning because they were succeeding early on and getting all the attention and critique and focus from the judges. Like, it was a weird choice. Early on in the season is where we get to know each designer's unique point of view and their style and how they approach challenges. And we got none of that because it was all about what the captains say and captains' orders. So not only were they forcing a bunch of group challenges, the biggest issue this season, I think, comes down to every single challenge was a one-day challenge. Traditionally in Project Runway, designers are typically given 2 days. It'll depend on the category. So if it's kind of like a ready-to-wear, easier category, then they'll give them 1 day to do it. Or if it's like couture, maybe they'll give them 2 days or 2.5 days. So the amount of days they got per challenge felt like it was related to the category and how complex the task they were giving the designers was. But in this season, every single challenge was a 1 day challenge. And that was such a sweeping policy that really affected the quality of the fashion, which is the point of the show. And it was totally like the silent killer of the season, because as the weeks went on, the designers' mental health was struggling so bad and nonstop. Like, design one thing one day, then the next day, then the next day, then these designers were like having mental breakdowns in the workroom. And historically, they have had mental breakdowns, but they were having way more mental breakdowns, and it was about just the pace of it, and everything about this season felt rushed. I heard the turnaround time for filming to going to air was just a few months. Normally it's like a year for reality TV, but they filmed in April and started airing in July. It was clear the designers were suffering, and it wasn't in a fun reality TV way. It was just in like a depressing, sadistic way of like, why do we have to rush it this much? And I know budget cuts is the answer, but might as well not have a show if you're not gonna have a budget that's sustainable for like what the show needs to make it good. Even for the finale, it was the same timeline, 1 day per garment, which is insane. Normally in Project Runway, they have a few months to prepare a collection and then show it at Fashion Week. Here, they said, nope, you have to make 5 looks in 5 days, and that's the finale. Like, the finale felt so small and inconsequential, and it was sad for the finalists. They didn't get to like actually showcase a real vision. Like, they had to just do what they could in that amount of time. Okay, grievance number 85. 2 words. Roach. This is so annoying. I don't even know. So apparently I just saw an article today that Tim Gunn was not asked to return for this season. Meanwhile, Heidi was. It was shady. They just snubbed him. In my ideal world, and fans will feel different, but I would get Roach out of there immediately. Put Christian Siriano in that, harsh judge position, and bring Tim Gunn back as mentor. I don't have much issue with Christian as a mentor. I like him as a mentor just fine. He's a little bitchy and catty, but at least he's a designer, a successful designer, and he has valuable advice. Roach was just such a horrible addition, and I don't know what he's on, but he is really trying to make himself happen as like a reality TV personality. He used to judge on Legendary. Now he's a rotating permanent judge on Drag Race, yay, and a permanent judge on Project Runway, and I just hated his approach. Well, first of all, he's not a designer, which to me already is like, okay, you're gonna be in the harsh judge position, like the Simon Cowell position, but you're not a designer. You don't know what goes into making a garment necessarily. Yes, he has a lot of accolades, image architect, styling. I'm not saying he doesn't, but I prefer, if someone's going to be the harsh judge for like technical stuff, an experienced, successful designer would be my preference. And just his biggest sin for me in his judging is that he focuses completely on people's personality, on their attitude, and not on the work, not on the clothes, which is what we're judging. Like, is he an expert psychologist or is he an expert stylist? Because all he cares about is people's attitude and personality and not the work itself. And if he dislikes someone, he's like, your work is shit, you're shit. Like, it's just so nasty and not interesting, not helpful, not constructive. Hashtag justice for Belania, because he treated her horrendously this season. Also, he judges so extremely harshly, fully knowing they have had 1 day to do this and have had 1 day after 1 day after 1 day after 1 day of all of these challenges. It is just exhausting. Also, he's not funny. Like, if his reads were funny, I think people would forgive it more. But they're not clever, they're not funny, they're not interesting, they're just like nasty bullying. He thinks it's fierce because he has long, beautiful hair and is serving a look, but It gives off very like attention seeking, trying to make a viral moment. And if you're trying to force a viral moment, guess what's gonna happen? Not a viral moment, because that's not how viral moments work. I'm just over him as a TV judge. He's oversaturated. And a lot of people that defend Roach, because they exist out there, they say, oh, well, Michael Kors was mean and nasty. And to that I say, Michael Kors was funny. He was hilarious. I still put on compilations of Michael Kors on Project Runway when I need to laugh immediately. That's like my go-to I need to laugh YouTube video. And second, Michael Kors was criticizing hilariously the garments, the clothes, the construction, the taste. Like, it was never like, why is your attitude like that? And just personal digs about the person, and just mad about how they react to his critique. When it's about the work, it's funny and it's relevant and it's doing your job because you're judging the clothes. This is not America's Next Top attitude, Roach. And then on top of it, his opinions are so arbitrary and weird. Like, he praised this infamous soccer ball dress in the unconventional challenge. It had like molecules stuck onto it. It was literally just fierce because the model was skinny and gorgeous. It's one of those, is it fashion or is she just skinny? She was just skinny. Like, she could make anything look fierce because she's fierce. That soccer ball thing really just threw Roach's credibility out the window. I'm starting to wonder if like Zendaya is the fashion genius and he rode her coattails. Like, it's probably not true, but you have to wonder after his opinions on this show. Like, he would just praise the randomest things and then hate the randomest things. Like, there's just no consistency to even like the judging itself. And I get it, like, this role is a classic. It's the Simon Cowell formula of like, you have a mean judge and a nice judge and a middle judge, and yeah, he serves that role, but he approaches it so wrong. See Michael Kors. See Christian in the workroom. Like, he does a lot of funny and mean reads, but it's usually about the clothes. And he's a designer. He has credibility too. It's just bad. And this casting, and I hate that I have to like talk about it, because I know, you know, the network's answer might be like, well, you're talking about him, aren't you? You're talking about the show. Roach is like rage bait in human form. But no, like, I hate the show and it's unenjoyable for this reason and all the other reasons I listed. And I'm just so sad because it has such a legacy and such a dedicated fan base, and it's kind of like the only show of its kind. I have watched other fashion ones, Next in Fashion. I've tried Heidi and Tim's show, Making the Cut. But Project Runway is the blueprint. They are just ruining it with all these stupid ass choices. And the last grievance I have is, you know, related to all of this, and the biggest complaint I've seen from the fandom, and it's just in general this season, the priority was drama over fashion. Like when Utica showed up in drag one runway and the judges criticized her for it, when apparently producers had encouraged her to dress and drag for that runway. There was an elimination where they were making the other designers eliminate the person. Like, this is not Survivor. This is not Big Brother. We are judging talent and fashion. The show just loses all its credibility of being anything remotely close to the fashion world, which is a serious industry. Did we not listen to Miranda Priestley's monologue about cerulean? Like, come on. We're losing the ancient recipes. They were also always like disguising the budget cuts as like, oh, this brand new thing. It's never been done on Project Runway. And it's like, we're having a spontaneous runway in the workroom, or we're not going to Fashion Week this year. We're doing 5 looks in 5 days. You're not fooling me that these aren't just budget cuts and it's like, ooh, new, fun, crazy, cool thing. No, you cut the budget and you made it worse. Don't treat us like we're stupid and haven't been watching the show for 20 years. And there was just so much interpersonal drama between the contestants. And I do think this one-day challenge thing and rigorous schedule and budget cuts affected the designers a lot. Like, yes, the twins, yes, Jesus was a diva and he's obnoxious, but also like The situation is just heightening everyone's stress to a level that's just not enjoyable to watch, and it doesn't produce good clothing, which is all we want to see. We want to see cutting edge fashion and new ideas and new techniques, and people succeed and fail and try things and push boundaries. That's why the fans watch the show. And all this to say, I don't blame the designers at all. Like, bless their hearts for surviving this horrid season. They are troopers. This was not a fair competition in any way, shape, or form. They're all so talented. Congratulations to VJ, the winner of the season. She was fierce. She showed a lot of great, cool fashion techniques, construction techniques. I loved Utica already from Drag Race, and I was excited to see her in a more fitting competition than Drag Race, because in Drag Race she was a bit awkward and not fully clicking with the audience and with me, but her Drag Race legacy is creating one of the most famous and probably the best unconventional challenge look of all time. She made a dress out of a sleeping bag. And ever since her season, she has created garments for queens that have been on Drag Race. So she works a lot in that and has shown a lot of her work on the Drag Race main stage. So I was really excited to see what she could do as a designer, but I knew the whole time they were gonna be like, but is it too drag? Is it too costume? They literally scouted her for the show to then pick on her about that. It's a classic reality TV formula, but it was still annoying, and I knew it from the second she was cast. I was like, they're gonna tell her every week, is it too drag? Is it too costumey? Is it too much? When that's why you picked her. And also right now, drag is influencing fashion more than ever because drag queens have skyrocketed to fame. They're pushing the boundaries, and now pop stars are getting their inspiration a lot of the time from drag queens. And you know, the drag queens are on the mood boards now more than ever. So I was hoping delusionally that maybe the show could lean into that and appreciate Utica's too muchness and her pushing the boundaries of fashion. But no, of course, every week they were like, we love it, but it's too drag or it's too weird. And that was kind of the finale. The twins, you know, I don't know why Project Runway loves a set of twins, especially if they're very obnoxious and dramatic, but whatever, you know, they were there and caused drama. I don't fault any of them. Belania, oh, she was amazing. She had a great arc in the story. She was so mistreated by Roach. She had some really, the most interesting garments of the season, in my opinion. So those are most of the only designers I remember, but they're all so talented and they defeated the odds surviving this season. I'm just like, I don't know, I'm at a crisis with this show. If it comes back, I feel like they cut the budget so much that like it kind of feels like they're not gonna give it another year, another season. If it's renewed on Freeform, Hulu, Disney, I don't know what I should do as a longtime fan, if I should watch or not watch. It's a tough one because it's kind of one of those things of like, I'm in so deep, I don't want to stop. Let me know if you're a fan of Project Runway or a former fan, if you're abandoning it, if you'll watch if they make some changes, if they care. I feel like they don't care though. They don't care about our grievances. Even though I'm yelling it on YouTube, they should care. Send them this video. Fuck you, Disney. Okay, never mind. Okay, I'm doing too much, but I don't know. I just had to rant about this in case there are other Project Runway fans that are frustrated and disappointed with the season. There's just no redeeming qualities aside from like the designers who are always awesome and talented. Let me know your thoughts on the season and your grievances, especially with season 21 of Project Runway. I would love to hear about it because I barely remember what happened. It was so all over the place and the format was so weird, and I'm not gonna go rewatch it because that's torture. So please add to the laundry list of grievances in the comments. I will be excited to read them. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed. I put out new videos whenever I feel like it about TV, pop culture, internet trends, and other miscellaneous things. And you can follow me at Miscellaneous to keep up with me, or just turn on the bell notification here on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.